Behind Rebel Lines is a story about me, Emma Edmonds, a young girl who was determined not to sit out during the Civil War. I wanted very much to become a part of the Union Army, so I cut my hair, donned men's clothing, and I traveled to the Flint courthouse to enlist. To my relief, they didn't realize I was a woman. I was told I would be working in a field hospital. My new name was Franklin Thompson. Franklin Thompson was very adventurous and brave. He was extremely clever and good at getting out of tight situations. Franklin was not shy and had many friends around the camp. A few days later, after just getting used to my schedule, news spread that one of our spies was captured and killed. Now the Army was without spies and needed someone to fill the gap. This is where I come in. After an interview, it was decided I was now a Union spy. I didn't know how to react. I was nervous and excited at the same time. I tried to think of who I would be disguised as. I could be disguised as a Confederate, but I knew one wrong answer and I was done for. I thought long and hard about this and decided to disguise myself as an African-American slave looking for work. I looked in the mirror at myself. I was now Cuff. Cuff was a hard-working yet illiterate darky. He was a small, gawky, brown-skinned man with a crown of woolly black hair. He had on an old shirt, patched overalls, and a pair of ancient shoes many sizes too big. Cuff was very spirited and very kind. He was by far my favorite disguise. After finishing my mission with Cuff, which went very well, I was excited about going on a new mission in a new disguise. My next disguise was Bridget O'Shea. Bridget was a plump old Irish peddler. She wore a petticoat, a fancy blouse, and a floor-length skirt. I dusted flour in my hair to turn it gray. For the last touch, she wore a pair of metal-rimmed glasses on the end of her nose. Bridget was very kind toward anyone she met. She was also very spirited and friendly. During this mission, I met Allen Hall, a young Confederate who was dying from typhoid fever. I took care of him until he died. I also heard some good information about tricks the Confederates would pull on us. Also during this mission, I stole a horse to get back to camp. I later named this horse Rebel. My next disguise was as a female slave. She was very much like Cuff, except that she had no name. I tinted my skin as I had for Cuff, and I donned a blouse, an apron, and a raggedy old skirt. She was very quiet and listened to whatever anyone had to say. She was very careful about what she did because the simplest of things could give her away. In this assignment, I found some very valuable information while I was cleaning around one of the Confederate camps. Charles Mayberry was my final and most important disguise. Mr. Mayberry had blue eyes, wavy hair, and a neat mustache. He was a respected man, but his past was a mystery to everyone. He was brave, clever, and good at getting out of sticky situations. While I was disguised as Mr. Mayberry, not only did I find out some information about the Confederates, but I also caught a Confederate spy who was giving the Confederates information about the Union's doings. When I returned to camp, I continued my job in the hospital, but I started to get sick. My symptoms became worse and worse. I had to face the truth. I was suffering from malaria. I did not know what to do. I was not allowed to take a leave of absence, and if I went into the hospital, they would find out that I was a woman. The only thing I could do was run away to a hospital elsewhere and come back when I was well again. Once I ran away from camp and I was settled in a hospital, I slowly got better. I frequently checked the Army bulletin. One day I was devastated to see Franklin Thompson listed as an AWOL, absent without leave. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't go back now. I was listed as a deserter. I soon got over it, though. I found a job in a hospital under my real name. I married and had 3 boys. I kept in touch with many of my friends from the war. I died a proud American on September 5th, 1898.